Are we up yet? I want one way to check it. I'm gonna check it right now. Oh, where's it at? Now this is just a mic check, and it's a quality check on how the stream looks. Now this is just a mic check, and it's a I think it looks good. Check on how the stream looks. Now this is just a mic check, and it's a all right. So I think it does look good. What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? Wherever you're watching, I am gonna be playing some League, and I am gonna be looking at a few conspiracy theory videos. And it's just gonna be as simple as me going to the search bar, conspiracy videos. And you know what? I want to keep it recent, so we're just gonna go today because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of them today. So, what's the truth about Epstein? Of course, I wanted to see that. That's a hot topic. So we're just look at that one right now. This is with Megan Kelly. All right, let's check it out.
Amazon offers hourly employees health care on day one for the whole family.
And I'm just realizing on my...
Many people believe that Jeffrey Epstein was connected in the spy world,
my
that Ghislaine Maxwell's dad worked
so
for
we're gonna pause it real
Mossad.
quick. I'm just gonna add it really fast. 1 second. That scene, I think I already have a scene. So I'm just gonna add this scene real quick. If you're on the mobile watching, just so you can have it, take a look at it. There it is right there. Oh, there she is. We're just gonna reduce that right there all the way down. So I still want you to see the game. This is gonna be at the bottom. Want to look at it? You can. All right. I think that's gonna be a decent spot for it. Okay. So I'm watching on multiple I'm watching on one screen right now, but I'm streaming on multiple platforms, only YouTube and Twitter. I wanted to do not Twitter, YouTube and Twitch. I wanted to do X, but I'm having some problems right now, so we're just gonna hold off on that right now. Please chat, share, follow, all that good stuff. We're gonna start the game up. I think we're good to go. Everything looks pretty fine. Bring this back up so you can see the full thing, and we'll.
Is there an Israeli connection? I don't know, but I know enough to know we're probably never going to know. And unfortunately, there's almost nothing that any of these characters can say now that's going to satisfy the people who want answers. Because in fairness to this administration, they're not the ones who created all the conspiracy theories, because they're the ones who completely bastardized the FBI and led to, yes, I don't mean just the Biden administration. It was happening under Trump, but like the Democrats and the deep state that are right now inside the FBI are the ones who have led us not to trust them at all, even when you've got Cash and Dan at the top. I mean, I happen to know from my sources that deep state is undermining them right now, is working to undermine both of those guys right now, and from the second they got in there. And those two are doing their level best to combat it. But my point is simply there's been a breakdown in the trust of both FBI and DOJ for years now that you can't.
So my problem with that is, they're undermining it or whatnot. That's still the president's fault, because he said already that he had information in the DOJ and the FBI and CIA and all that stuff. So it's ridiculous. Let's keep on.
Saddle entirely on Pam Bondi. She's just the cherry on top of the sundae, and she didn't help on the Epstein stuff. So it's a long, complex story that I don't know we're ever going to fully understand.
True.
Yeah,
True.
I think that's
true.
Pretty obviously true that at this point there's no getting to the bottom of it.
God, it's
unless
just wild.
you know, something
So I'm gonna go chill right
unexpected
now. I'm just gonna
happens
go
and,
hard, destroy these
we get
motherfuckers.
quick answers.
And
But Vicky Ward
yeah, start the
reported,
game.
this was at Rolling Stone. She said 4 separate sources told me on the record that Epstein's dealings in the arms world in the 1980s had led him to work for multiple governments, including the Israelis. Some of these sources are more reliable than others, but the gist of the claims that you will be able to hear and ultimately watch in the 3-hour doc series that actually came out is that Maxwell, who was himself a conduit between the Israelis and other governments during his lifetime, introduced Epstein to Israeli leaders, who then allegedly used Epstein as the equivalent of an old-fashioned Russian sleeper, someone who could be useful in an influence campaign. And the only other bit that I want to add to that, Megan, is the Bill Barr connection. Bill Barr was AG when the Epstein suicide happened. And Bill Barr's father, this is not at all determined, but when he was headmaster at the Dalton School, right after his tenure, Epstein himself got hired to teach math and physics.
He taught at Dalton.
Despite having nothing really on his resume, the headmaster who was the successor to Bill Barr's dad, who was also reportedly OSS, and then Bill Barr himself was CIA. He was part of his job was stonewalling the church committee, and this does sound all very crazy to say aloud, but this is all documented factual stuff. That headmaster said that he
headmaster.
That seems like a slur at this point, Megan.
That's racist.
Yeah. Get out of here with your bigotry. The headmaster.
I still sleep in a master bedroom too. I just want you to know that. It's not primary. I'm sick of that shit.
This is how I get canceled. But he said the headmaster who took over after Bill Barr's dad, Donald Barr, said that he was pretty sure that Bill Barr's dad is the one who hired Jeffrey Epstein. That was the kind of thing that he was doing, and he didn't think that he had hired Jeffrey Epstein. It's all a lot. Alex Acosta.
Okay, but wait. I'll give you the counterpoint, because if you do cognitive behavioral therapy, you're allowed to say like, "Oh my God, the sky is falling. It's falling. It's falling. It's falling. It's falling." But the rule of cognitive behavioral therapy is that you then must make the list on the other side. But it hasn't fallen. It's never fallen. I thought it was falling yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and it didn't fall. It's still up there, and I'm fine. Like you have to do both sides of the list in order to come out with a rational assessment. And my own other side of the list there is Jeffrey Epstein had friends at MIT. He had friends, in the White House, as you know, within the Buckingham Palace. He genuinely wooed Alan Dershowitz into becoming a contact and somewhat friendly. He was his lawyer. Alan Dershowitz
I'm lagging a little bit. I don't know why.
Regular contact with him. After Jeffrey Epstein cut that plea down in Florida, he had a dinner party at his house. Katie Couric was there. Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew showed up at that after he had pleaded guilty to this prostitution with a minor, which is not a thing. A minor cannot be a prostitute. Anyway,
exactly.
So my point is simply, many people.
I thought it was against a lot for anyone to be a prostitute.
So I don't really have a hard time believing that he could go into the Dalton School, talk the talk, and as long as he was saying the right things at that time, which it wasn't even woke back then, it was just elite. Could get himself a job. People smarter and better connected than Bill Barr hired him, cozied up to him, went to his house, and generally that was done because he had shit tons of money, and also he had enough connections that it legitimized him. People would meet him and be like, "Oh, you're friends with Bill Clinton? Oh, then sure, I can be friends with you. Oh, yeah. You just spoke at MIT. You were having dinner with the president.
I wonder if he introduced."
All of us
Bill
have
Clinton
these
to Monica
quick
Lewinsky.
check ways of making sure the person we're about to let into our life or our company are legit. And in Jeffrey Epstein's case, those weren't lies. He really did have those connections. It wasn't like he was name dropping. He legit had those. So my point is simply, could be that thing you said about Bill Barr, or could just be he was a player. He was a good player even back then. He did have connections, and he knew how to use them.
I think that's entirely reasonable too, and it's very easy to get caught in the fever swamps in this story because anytime you have somebody who mingles with so many powerful folks, they inevitably, even if nothing was done wrong, will have all of these connections.
Oh my gosh! Let me fix this. I'm getting like only 31 FPS. You guys see that? Why? Go try to cap it at 60, so I can at least be smooth. Let's see if we can get it at 60 at least. Alright, so these are commercials, and I'm not gonna pay for YouTube right now.
August
My broken motherfucker just for the
1946.
second. Gonna come back,
Esteemed
gonna get
U.S.
it
naval
all
officer and
yeah.
explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, one of the first pilots to fly over both the North and South Poles, organizes Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica. With 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel.
This was very important, that after the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. It was supposed to be that they would go in December, January,
FPS is never
February,
this
and
low. It's
March,
fucking weird.
and there was a list of military goals that
Hate
they
that
were
bitch.
to achieve. But by the end of February, something happened.
One of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military bases
I
in
have a
Antarctica.
problem with this
But
lag.
during his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly
Byrd.
came upon something highly unexpected.
What is it?
This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
In his diary, which was discovered by his son after his death, Admiral
Fucking
Byrd
lag,
tells
man.
an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd
Oh,
heard
do you know what
there
it
was
is?
an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the South, under the South Pole. And,
Go to
and
720.
when he did that,
You see
he
that house?
discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate.
Kinda
His
helped.
squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this
Easy.
lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how
Bitch
all of a
asshole.
sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane
Lord.
is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into
Oh, that was definitely it.
a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop this.
For UFO researchers, this account from
Oh,
Admiral Byrd's
way
diary
better.
is particularly significant due to the fact that the modern UFO era began right after World War II and the detonation.
I guess I can go
of the
even
first
lower because it's a
atomic
small ass
bombs.
player on
It is also
OBS.
been
Go to
noted
240p.
that a
See
high
what works
number
better.
of UFO sightings
And then we're
have
gonna
been
go to
reported
this back
in the
to
vicinity of
unlimited
nuclear
accounts.
missile silos.
Admiral Byrd's story is congruent with the stories that we hear from numerous accounts of angelic or extraterrestrial type beings that are very concerned about what humanity is doing with nuclear weapons. Just ask the Air Force officers at the U.S. missile silos, the nuclear missile silos, that have seen their silos and their nuclear arms disarmed by what are perceived to be extraterrestrial beings.
No!
They're very concerned that we are ultimately
What?
not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world as well.
If Admiral Byrd's secret diary is authentic, does it reveal not only
Hey mate,
that
I'm
there
a
are
single
highly
father and
dangerous
also a
beings
verified
living
kick and
inside
Twitch
the
streamer.
Earth,
And of
but
course,
also
just getting to know more people.
that they are monitoring
Alright.
what happens on the surface? According to
Just
the
getting to know more
diary,
people, make new
after
friends,
this
and maybe a
incredible
host.
encounter,
A
Admiral
collaboration with new
was eager
streamers.
to share
And
his
then
story,
blah blah blah.
but was ordered
But I see
to
what we have
remain
for you
silent.
down. Here's my Discord. No, I'm good.
Byrd comes back after
I like
this
to do things solo.
experience. He is taken to
At least so
a
far.
government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly and that everything he says is classified.
Admiral Byrd.
Could
I don't know if I
Admiral
believe
Byrd's
this.
story point to a profound
It's
connection
about like
between the ancient traditions of strange
ancient
beings
aliens
living inside the
and
earth
ancient people
and the
have a
modern-day
connection.
UFO phenomenon.
Yeah, so I don't know about
If an
that.
app was built on an
But I like
AI
listening to
coding
it. It's fun.
platform, but no one has published it, did it ever?
Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe we may be
Oh,
fast
get me
approaching
out
the
of there.
time when we will find ourselves face to face with the beings of inner Earth. Antarctica is a land of extremes.
Come on, bitch.
Nearly 98%
Oh.
of the ground is covered by an ice sheet up to 3 miles
Damn.
thick. A
I'm
mountain
getting my
as
salad
towering as
tossed.
Japan's Mount Fuji at 12,400 feet would not even break the surface.
Not good. Not good. Not good at all.
Temperatures regularly fall below minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds of up to 200 miles an hour. During its peak
I'm blaming
season,
the lag.
it is home to only 4,000 scientists and military personnel.
But I want to hear about Admiral Byrd.
Antarctica is the last frontier. It holds our imagination. Old maps
We'll exit
that
this.
said,
We'll
here
put it on
be
my,
monsters. The last remaining territory
phone.
on the planet that could have such a designation is Antarctica.
See if it works better.
Although it was discovered nearly 250 years ago, scientists have more questions than answers when it comes to this frozen continent. Due to the sheer depth of the ice covering its landmass, the surface of Antarctica is unable to be seen with the naked eye. And ancient astronaut theorists propose that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us.
All right, we're good.
They suggest
This looks
there
good.
is
This is
far
better.
more human and perhaps non-human activity happening in Antarctica than we've been told.
Oh man, they got
Something
fucked.
seems to be going on this mysterious continent at the South Pole. And it has been theorized by a number of people
Bitch.
that Antarctica is some kind of alien base.
Rumors of extraterrestrial activity in Antarctica have circulated for years. If these accounts
Bitch.
are true, and there is, in fact, an extraterrestrial presence in Antarctica today, could it have been there for hundreds or even thousands of years? In July 2018, Linda Moulton Howe interviewed a whistleblower who offered to provide her with classified information regarding Antarctica on the condition
Alright, in order to move this over here so I can turn my head the other way. It'll look better on the stream.
that she not reveal his identity. Her source, a retired Navy
they'll send
SEAL
me from, like,
who she
looking up,
identifies as
this
Spartan
one,
1,
this one.
provided her with details of an ancient structure he claims to have visited during his time at the South
Come on,
Pole.
bitch!
At that time, my rank was First Lieutenant Commander, Naval Special Operations. We were inbound the southeast coast of Antarctica. We were dispatched for, unofficially, was a research reconnaissance mission. Officially, it was to find a certain individual, obtain any information,
Get out of
and
here,
bring
ho.
it back.
What was the date?
August 2003.
According to Spartan 1, when he and his team reached their destination, they encountered a large octagonal structure protruding
on,
from the
man.
ice. Cautiously,
on,
they
dog.
proceeded to enter it.
At the very top of the first structure that we entered, there was almost 18 feet poking from the ice. The rest of it was hidden under the ice. Each door was the same.
He is pissed.
Anywhere from 18 feet thick to around 30 feet thick. And even though these doors were that big and that heavy, you could take one
Oh,
finger
man.
and push them and they would open.
You would take
There
one
was no
finger and
resistance
push that
whatsoever.
shit in, man.
The outside temperature was at least 40 degrees below zero.
Why?
Once you stepped inside these structures, the temperature was
I guess, never mind. I was gonna ask why did he have to cover his
68
face for
72
aliens
degrees.
and
What about this?
General Burt or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to look crazy.
It was lighted from the inside, but we could not find the source of light. It was a lime green in color. The walls were lined with what I call hieroglyphics, but nothing of hieroglyphics
He calls them
that I've ever
hieroglyphics.
seen in my life.
Probably doesn't know what it is though, so they probably just look
Mysterious
like
structures
hieroglyphics.
buried at the South Pole.
But I don't know.
Structures built by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization in our remote past.
Buried underneath the ice in Antarctica could well be stone temple constructions. There could be
I am doing
biological
shitty right
material,
now.
remains of beings.
At least I'm getting 61
It could
FPS
still
on
be
some
there.
spots.
It could be the greatest reveal in all of human history.
I got my phone right here, so I'm just checking out.
The Bible's book of Genesis.
Augment Code is the best AI coding tool for professional software engineers. They've put a lot of time and effort.
Maybe I'll check that out.
In chapter 6, verse 9, begins the story of Noah and the flood, in which God
Not
sends
today,
a great
bitch.
deluge to rid the earth of sinners and start anew. Different versions of this same story
Eat
exist
that hoe.
in nearly every
Ah!
ancient tradition
We all
around
dead.
the world.
Let me go back. Let me go back. Can I make it? Can I make it?
Going back 5,000 years, we have sacred texts that tell us there was an
That's an idiot.
antediluvian civilization.
Ah!
There was a great flood, and that there were survivors.
Oh man. Who got it? Who got it?
Mesopotamians speak of this in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Egyptians speak of this in the Edfu creation text. Plato learned from the Egyptians that there was once
Is that
a
in Kamala?
civilization called Atlantis that existed 9,000 years before his time.
Amiga.
Plato wrote about the lost continent of Atlantis in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. Historians and researchers have long debated whether
I am
this
tripping.
pre-flood
I thought I was
civilization
7'9" right
was
now.
purely
Like,
mythological
just
or
earlier.
actually existed. Arguments have been made suggesting remnants
Oh,
of
this guy's
Plato's
mine.
destroyed civilization
He's my
could
ass.
be found at the South Pole.
I think what happened in Antarctica was that approximately 13,000 years ago, that flourishing civilization
Try and get this bitch.
that originally came from space
Ate her
and
up.
establishing
That's
its
what's
presence
up.
in Antarctica was flash frozen. We
I
actually
want
have
Ori.
ancient
I think
evidence
her
of this
ultimate's the only thing
from
that's like
Plato's
really killing
dialogues,
me.
where he talks about the last days of Atlantis. That basically is informing us that Atlantis was an extraterrestrial colony that had established itself on Earth, and that after a pole shift, Atlantis was moved under the ice where the South Pole currently is.
Scientific anomalies, radar and satellite images, eyewitness accounts. As more and more pieces of the puzzle
I love
start
doing
to
these
come
emotes.
together, might we soon
Something
be
I
able
really
to
like
solve the mystery
that they added
of the
a while
Antarctic
ago, but
continent?
I think it was a good ad.
And if so, just what might we discover?
I wish though they kind of had like the
Modern
Monster Hunter
whistleblowers still
wheel where I can
argue
have like an extra
that
section.
There is more about Antarctica that is being covered up than we think. There are entire bases down there, entire civilizations that the world's governments are working with aliens.
They know about the buried artifacts, they know about the ancient civilizations down there, and they know about the extraterrestrial civilizations that continue to operate in Antarctica at the very moment.
It's totally possible that Antarctica contains an extraterrestrial home base on Earth. It's a totally isolated part of the planet.
Oh, we're done. We're done.
It's completely uninhabited, or was until recently.
We're done.
It's ideal.
That's it. Oh wow.
August 26th, 1946.
It is what it is.
A U.S.
I didn't wanna
scientific
look.
expedition called Operation
look.
High Jump.
Again, please
departs
follow,
for the
subscribe.
South Pole.
We're gonna be looking at
It is led by
conspiracy theories,
esteemed
playing some
naval
League.
officer and explorer.
Got my ass ringed right now.
Admiral
Oh, so we
Richard Byrd.
aren't all inning.
Admiral
All inning.
Richard Byrd was a very important admiral in the United States Navy. He graduated the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis.
I just sucked.
He
I'm
fought
gonna
in
take the
World
blame
War
for that
I,
one. I wasn't doing too good.
And after the war, he became an
See
explorer.
what I got damage wise.
In 1926,
actually,
Byrd made worldwide headlines
How-
when he and Navy Chief Aviation pilot Floyd
Kamichie,
Bennett
how the hell are
became
you
the
only
first people
18k
to
damage?
ever fly over the North
And I'm
Pole.
tank. I don't get that
For
one.
their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd, at the age of 41, made the first solo flight
We'll do
over
one
the
more,
South
then I'm
Pole,
gonna take a break.
he became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the
I don't
largest
like Jinx.
Antarctic
I don't like
expedition
playing as
to
Jinx, so I'm
date.
gonna try to switch her. But I don't like.
Massive
Oh,
military
oh,
convoy included 13 ships,
Let me guess.
33
Let me guess
aircraft,
Shaco.
and 4,700 troops.
Really like Shaco.
The U.S. Navy sent down a flotilla of ships under command of Admiral Byrd, and they came back after about 9 months in Antarctica. Apparently, they actually fought a battle in Antarctica, probably between remnants of the Third Reich and perhaps extraterrestrials as well. There are
Perhaps.
stories of crabs.
Here's how I aced my midterm project with Adobe Premiere Pro. Beautiful shots, but too noisy, right? Enhanced sound.
Coming up out of the water and attacking them.
Flying Saucers dealt a very heavy defeat to Byrd's Operation High Jump. He gave a report in March of 1947
Operation High
that
Jump.
said a new enemy had been discovered that could
Is that a
fly
real
from
thing?
pole to pole in an instant.
In 2018, more than 70 years after Byrd's astounding claim, a satellite image captured what appeared to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft, or contrail, that could only have been produced by something traveling at incredibly high speeds.
So here it is. Let's show you real quick.
It extended the entire length of the Earth, longitudinally from the North Pole to
Operation
the South
High
Pole,
Jump right there.
which is 12,000
Zoom it in.
miles.
The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is 30 minutes, but
There.
most dissipate in
Look at
less
it.
than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour,
Operation
or
High
10
Jump,
times
officially
the
known
speed
as the United
of the
States Navy
fastest
Antarctic
aircraft in
Development Program
existence
from
today,
1947 was a
could leave a
significant United
contrail
Navy
that would
United
stretch the
States Navy
entire
mission
length of the
indicated shortly
Earth
after the World War
without
II.
breaking
All
up.
right, so it might be true. It looks like it's true.
It's a
Well,
seeming
hide that for right now.
impossibility because it meant that some object was able to traverse the entire planet from pole to pole in a matter of minutes before the contrail disappeared.
I wonder if turning off the overlay on League would help.
Whatever
with the
created
slack.
that was going beyond Mach 10. Mach 10
You do
is
that?
over 8,000 miles per hour. This was probably going much, much faster than that. So whatever it was something that more than likely we've never seen before.
In the 21st century, satellite photography
I
has
don't see
allowed
anything about
anyone
it.
with an internet connection to access images of Antarctica.
Stop.
In 2016, a striking image was discovered of a seemingly man-made entrance carved into an Antarctic mountain range.
This is a legitimate satellite
I'm out this
image
bitch.
of
I'm
a
out
very
this bitch.
large, proportionate hole in the ground or the mountain range. This looks intelligently designed to suit a specific
How?
craft that
Oh.
flies through this particular opening.
Similarly, in 2018, internet researchers released the coordinates for what they
get
described
this
as
guy.
a UFO crash-landed on the Antarctic island of South Georgia.
Scared me.
The photographs are really compelling.
That vein, that
because
is
this
vein.
is not
We're gonna
somebody
go
making
with
believe
a
something
two-ship
is
poison
there.
first.
You can actually see the skid
Oh,
marks.
this guy's done.
It actually looks as though an object is moving along that ice. But the thing that so intrigued people looking at those images were that the skid marks were straight.
Skid marks.
Some ancient astronaut theorists have noted that the shape of the alleged craft is
Don't
very
do it,
similar
Brand.
to a
Wait.
mysterious
Oh, you
celestial object
raging
that
penis.
was detected entering our solar system in October 2017. Called Oumuamua, the object was initially identified as an asteroid, but its shape, trajectory, and acceleration were so unexpected that the chair of Harvard's astronomy department, Avi Loeb,
So after this,
suggested
I gotta
that
switch out my
Oumuamua
laundry.
might be an
I'm gonna
alien probe.
let the dogs out, feed the dogs,
It's a very curious image of
do a
this
backflip,
large,
push-ups,
oblong, tubular-shaped
a few,
craft that seems to have crashed
strip
into
dances,
the ice and then
stretch.
skidded
We're
along.
gonna do a nice somersault.
And it really
And
looks
then also we're
like
gonna
this
come
interstellar
back and just jump on the
asteroid,
plane and look at some more
Oumuamua, that
conspiracy
could
theories.
easily
I want to
be
get ready for
a
tomorrow though, so
spacecraft
That's gonna be
The
it. I
actual
got tomorrow at
craft
the gym.
itself
We got a
is
chest day.
right around 50
Hopefully you guys
yards
can join me.
in length. This is the wider view
Ah.
of this object that quite possibly came in at an angle, ricocheted off of the base of this mountain, and that's what gave it the momentum to skid several thousands of feet. You can definitely see the mountain. There's some disturbance here where this track
What a
leads
fool.
back to from this
Foolish
unidentified
endeavors.
object. This very well could be a crash landing based off of what we're seeing at the bottom of the mountain, yes.
Is it
Oh, nice,
possible
nice.
that online researchers using satellite
See, that person likes
technology
Jinx.
actually
I don't like
located the
Jinx.
crashed remnants of an extraterrestrial vehicle and the opening to an underground alien base?
My new mantra, vibe code the front end, Fiverr the back end. Thanks to platform.
What?
There's been a lot of talk about underground bases in Antarctica, and certain satellite photos show mountain areas that have unusual caverns in them, literal windows that are the shape of a flying saucer.
Is it possible that secret, perhaps extraterrestrial bases are hidden beneath the ice on Antarctica?
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
McMurdo Station, Antarctica. Located on the southern peninsula of Ross Island, this is the largest
Cottage.
research station on the continent. It
Oh,
was
I missed
opened
it
by the
again.
U.S. government in 1956 and houses up to as many as 1,200 residents at a time. In January of 2015, a U.S. Navy flight engineer who served with the Antarctic Development Squadron at McMurdo for 14 years, came forward to investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe with bizarre accounts of his time in Antarctica.
No, she
In
got
January
me. She got me.
2015, I got an
Yeah.
email from a retired
I should've
naval
just let
flight
the
engineer.
ticks kill her.
He's asked me to call him
Oh, wow.
only Brian in the world public. And this is what he told me.
The real public.
From about 1983 to when he retired from the Navy in 1997. He was in all kinds of what they call Antarctic Squadron expedition missions that included rescuing people in and out of various places. In all these trips, nothing of a high strangeness had occurred, and then all of a sudden it was one thing after another. During a squadron mission in the Transantarctic Mountains, the whole crew saw a whole bunch of silver darting objects. And they are round. And he says they're doing the strangest thing. They're going like to this peak in a group, to this peak in a group, to this peak in a group, and then they'd all take off. And not only did this happen once, it happened over and over.
According to the informant, this was just one of many strange mysteries on the continent that he witnessed during his time there.
They get an assignment not long after. There's a medical emergency.
see if
They
this
are
works.
now under the gun. The clock is ticking, and a decision was made. They're going over through the no-fly zone because it's a medical emergency. And what do they see? In the ice, like a huge entrance to a cave, but slanted going down. And he said, I think it was at least
He's like,
1 to
I just
200
set it
feet
up
in
and
diameter.
walk around.
Big hole in the ice. And he said, our instruments are not operating. We were losing electricity. We had magnetic anomalies. And we concluded there's something about this hole that is now causing these problems.
And I
They
love
do their
it.
medical recovery. And the next thing they know, they're all being chewed out by men in suits that are not
Meningitis.
from McMurdo. They appear to be from Washington, D.C., and as he said, they told us that we are never, ever to fly over that hole, and we are never to discuss
put
it
your
again.
piece in the hole.
What is that about? And does that have anything to do with all these other pieces that keep emerging? That there might be something archaeological.
Yo,
in
put your
Antarctica.
weenus in the hole.
According to
Yo,
ancient
you better
astronaut
know in the hole with
theorists,
the weenus. Yeah,
this
yeah,
was
you
not
already
the
know.
first time
Yeah.
a massive hole has been spotted in the ice of Antarctica. Famous polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd allegedly reported seeing a massive entrance to an underground world during his 1947 expedition to the South Pole.
Admiral Byrd made a lot of unusual statements, allegedly talking about a large opening at the South Pole that went deep inside the Earth, ice-free, and was inhabited by various sorts of aliens. And when Byrd got back to the United States, he was brought back to Washington, where he was questioned very heavily about his statements. And allegedly he was told to stop talking about this. You have to wonder, is the South Pole some kind of extraterrestrial entry zone? Some kind of portal that's so important that it has to be controlled by the military?
While it may seem unthinkable that pyramids could exist in Antarctica, in recent years, archaeologists have found pyramids all over the world that had been lost for centuries.
You know, I've been hearing about that though. Like,
Formation,
there's pyramids in
the most
China.
unlikely places.
There's pyramids.
They have been discovered in the plains
Obviously
of
Egypt,
northern Peru,
South America,
buried
Mexico,
beneath dirt and rubble in Indonesia, and one
Bye.
may even exist in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
The world, we find evidence of pyramid structures. We should start looking at the possibility that there was habitation on Antarctica. Was it a lost civilization? Could it be ancient astronauts? And just maybe,
Oh,
the
barely
earliest
made
monuments
it.
of our own civilization came originally
Oh,
from
she is
Antarctica.
pissed.
If this gigantic pyramid in Antarctica is an artificial structure,
Oh, they got her.
it would probably be the oldest pyramid on our planet. And in fact, it might be the master pyramid that all the other pyramids on planet Earth were designed to look like.
There has been extensive research done on pyramids throughout
Huh?
the world in
Well, I
terms
wasted
of their
that.
structure and what it is that they really are. And one of the theories is that pyramids are power generators. And so if you have these pyramids strategically placed around the world generating this charge, it's possible to
I like to always
create
give them the brown
a
laugh. I
general
feel like that's
standing
the
wave around
biggest
the world
tilt one.
that is basically a
And then
wireless
the
transmission
Milo,
of energy.
Millie. That's like the other one that tilts them.
Ancient ships, extraterrestrials, and those with high technology could use this interconnected wireless energy system to navigate around the planet. And it makes sense that if there was some kind of worldwide pyramid power grid like this, that Antarctica would have pyramids as well.
The whole idea of these pyramidal structures, where did it come from? 'Cause it's not an arbitrary thing. And these structures, they exist worldwide. So, you know, what was the impetus? What's the origin? And even more fascinating, did they originate on the Antarctic continent?
Well,
Might the
all
pyramid Joseph White claims to have discovered near the Shackleton mountain range
continents
and
during
other
Pangea
pyramid-shaped
were
formations
connected,
recently
wouldn't that be
photographed
like?
in
Wouldn't it be possible that they
Antarctica
started creating
provide
pyramids then?
evidence of extraterrestrial visitation to our planet in the
Or am I
remote
tripping?
past? And if they are actually man-made structures, how is such a thing even possible in a place that has been buried beneath the ice for over 12 million years? According to ancient astronaut theorists, Antarctica may not have been a frozen continent for as long as mainstream scientists suggest. And they say proof can be found by examining a 500-year-old map depicting the continent without any ice.
No ice agents?
East Antarctica, October 2015. Scientists at NASA announced that despite years of thinking otherwise, they are now finding that the ice in this region is actually growing, averaging 82 billion tons a year.
Get him!
Snowfall is currently adding ice to most of the continent, But at the same time, glaciers are rapidly melting along the coast of western Antarctica. Scientists calculate that since 2009, as much as 60 cubic kilometers of ice, the equivalent of 70,000 Empire State Buildings, is disappearing into the
I feel like
ocean
this
each year.
year's going by so quick. I
But
just
why is
realized
the ice
that
here melting when it is growing throughout much of the rest
we're
of the
in
continent.
July. The fuck?
We see these graphic pictures on television of the ice caps melting and falling into the sea, but it's actually
like the last time I
only
streamed was like
in
3
some
months ago, 4
areas
months ago.
that the ice caps are actually melting. What's so strange is that through various factors, that the ice in Antarctica
That was a stupid move,
might
Mel.
actually be growing and extending. And this is very strange.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, it's this dope tech from Wix. Now this whole flow is a conversation, so your words actually build your website. I'm going for a store. And after a free-flowing conversation, I get this detailed site brief. And just like that, my first draft is ready. Now that's dope. Next, you can really get in there and style it your way. Here's the fun part. You can regenerate this whole thing over and over. Or you can tweak something specific, like your layout. Let me describe what I had in mind. Yeah, that's fire.
Sometimes I just let them
We
play.
can't rule out the possibility that in certain
And
cases,
mimic up a little bit.
there could be entire cities that are built underground that may even be actively maintained by extraterrestrials now, and that as those cities are
I can
powered
kinda
up
see
or
that, though.
expanded in size,
I feel like
that they are
the
giving off some kind of heat.
the layers
and
under
that
our
heat
crust.
in turn is melting the ice above them.
I don't know.
If there are
Like how
things
low
buried
it is to
under
be
the
considered a
miles
crust
of ice
or a
at
mantle or whatever,
Antarctica,
but I feel
then
like there
that
has
would
to be
mean
shit under
it
it.
had to have happened before the last ice age. So who knows what we'll find there? Remnants of a lost civilization, perhaps even tools with which these civilizations were built.
It's possible that underneath the ice will be keys for us to actually save ourselves and reclaim our ancient past.
What's our
We
ancient
may
past?
end up in a situation where this can't be covered up anymore. Where visible ruins, gigantic pyramids, gigantic obelisks start to peek through the ice. And at that point, it's game over. No
Come on,
longer
homie.
can this be swept under the rug.
There's no question that under the ice of Antarctica, there could be extraterrestrial craft, there could be cities down there. Bottom line is, it will shock the entire belief system of humankind. It will just change everything we know.
What really
Come
lies
on, man.
beneath the ice and snow in Antarctica? Was this frozen continent once covered with lush vegetation, as well as pyramids that predate those in Egypt? And if extraterrestrials truly did inhabit Antarctica, could these otherworldly visitors still be hiding out there today?
Oh, fucking vain, man. I juked the shit out of fucking my man Blitz.
Edfu, Egypt.
Let's see what these Instagram comments say about me.
On the western bank of the Nile, the Temple of Edfu is one of the largest and most well-preserved temples of the ancient kingdom, dating back to 237 BC.
The Edfu temple is of tremendous importance. As you enter the temple, it's like you're going inside a book. It's literally full of texts. Every wall, every column, every room, every chamber is filled with texts. They're known collectively as the Edfu texts.
The alpha
What is
text?
very interesting is that the majority
Is that
of
what I
texts
heard?
speak about the creation of the world.
According to the texts, the earth was created by powerful gods who came down from the sky.
That's the thing I want to know. If, for example, if you could actually go back in time and see who or what or how the universe was created, would you do it? And like, let's say you did it, and it wasn't really that spectacular. Say it was like maybe less than the Big Bang, and it just I don't believe it. I believe in God, so that's gonna be one thing people are gonna be like, "What?" You know, there's a lot of people that believe in God, but yeah, like what if it wasn't anything? People are okay with that, and you think they'll lose meaning? And then I know I heard other stuff like meanings in like the time and moment, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people lose their mind, even the people that are just Big Bang people. Got him. Got him. All right, we're gonna go back to the video right now. I'm just gonna spread some cheeks, beat some meats, beat some cheeks. There it goes, not meats. Yeah, you did it the wrong way, buddy. I wonder if I can take him out right now. I could. I could. Go. We'll hit this one real quick. See where it is. Is she fucking retarded? Come on, I'm Shaco, the Majestic. Oops. Let me swiftly touch those. Oh, my face and cuddle some mo, 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 mo. I'll take this one out. I think we're good. Wait, how the hell did it? Oh, that was on Raka. Good game. GG. Well played. All right. This conspiracy theory is almost done. We're just going to finish it. How much time we got?
And these gods first established a
got like
place known
5
as the
minutes, so we'll
island
watch it.
of the egg.
Gotta give it to Brown. Brown was fucking shit up.
They
I think he's
created
gonna have the
an
most
island
damage.
in the middle of the eternal lake. Creation started with that island.
Oh, it was Aphelios.
The
Brown was
occupants
close.
of this so-called primordial mythical
Angle.
world, very strange creatures. There seems to be 3 groups of people. One called the sages, one called the builders, and the other called the Sheptiu. Nobody knows who they are. These are the ones that are very mysterious because they are said to emerge from the water. Then the Egyptians
check my
believed
Instagram real
a
quick?
series of gods came and built the first temples.
It says that here the first temples were built, the first ones ever in the world, and that these became the blueprint for every temple in Egypt.
Once all the creator gods have done their job with creating the world, they would meet with their big bird and ascend to the sky. Ancient
So,
Egyptians believed
the
with
Epstein
all
thing is
their
fucking
heart
Trump up.
that everything listed and inscribed on these walls are true, true, true. If the walls say there's an island in the middle of nowhere where gods would go and ascend to the sky, then ancient Egyptians, the devoted ones, would believe that island exists.
According to the Edfu texts, not all of the occupants left. And after many generations, the island suffered a terrible fate.
The texts are very different as to what happens to the occupants. These strange gods, they seem to, once they have set the scene, once they've built the temples, they hand over their work to the historical lineage, and then they depart. We don't know where they go. There seems to be something very interesting here. There seems to be a war going on. The armies of these divinities is led by this falcon god.
The U.S. government really outdid themselves
the
making
kind of
Diddy
enemy
innocent and
represented by
Epstein finalists disappear all in 1 week. Look at that shit.
In the skies appeared.
Look at that
was
shit. Can you
known
read
as
it?
the enemy snake.
You read
it? Had
it?
a name. It was called the Great Leaping One, and it was said that immediately it appeared, there was a time of darkness, and there were suddenly floods that destroyed this sacred island. And when the waters receded, these original beings, who were known as the Ancient Ones or the Elder Ones, were now
Oh
no
man,
there.
you know, sometimes you just gotta laugh at this bullshit.
The Great Leaping One, this enemy snake, was the memory of the
Great
comets
Leaping One
that entered into our inner solar system, broke up, causing devastation and destruction.
Wonder if it was just like
Lengthy
smoke that
account
looked like
of
a
this
creature,
ancient
and then
catastrophe
interpreted it as an actual
inscribed on the
creature.
walls of the Edfu Temple be describing a natural event? Or was it a deliberate attack? An attack targeting an otherworldly civilization existing on what we now know as the Antarctic continent?
Huh, I don't know. So, that's a good question. But like I said, I have to go do some laundry. I gotta take it out of the washer, put it in the dryer. Gotta feed my dogs on them out. I gotta do a backflip, do some push-ups, do some motivational talks to myself to get going with the Twitch. So, we're gonna be back. I'm gonna be back on in like maybe an hour or so. We're gonna do the same thing, some leaks, some conspiracy theories, and we'll probably go to like 11 tonight, maybe 12. So if you guys want to come back for that, let me know on the chat. Let me know what you want me to do. I want to get some games going. I want to really deep dive into conspiracy theories as well. I know some people don't give a fuck about them. I think they're really interesting, especially those that are being like, what's the word, like gaslit on us, or like, you know what I mean? They could be real, but they're kind of not real for a lot of people, but there's still some stuff that is real. So that's what I want to look at. So maybe like Israel. So we'll see. I'll be back, y'all, and thanks.